Good morning. This is Sandy Concar, and I am welcoming you to our Monday morning open discussion chats with Surviving the Diagnosis. It's happened to all of us. Peggy Maggot. Hi, Peggy.
Good morning, Sandy and everyone.
We're going to talk about today about nutrition and how nutrition can be your medicine and medicine is your food. So, and I talk a lot about being organic eater and purchasing it. And what I've come to realize is that not everyone in the country has accessibility to organic food. So I'd like to just start out first by Googling where you can buy organic, whether even if it can be delivered to you. I belong to what is called a CSA, and it's with a local farm that is probably about a half hour from me. But it's an organic farm, and I'm part of that group, and there's different levels of food that packages that you can buy. And so we chose, the amount of that we wanted to spend a month on food or on meat, I should say. And so every month I have the option to order extra if I want, or I can just stay within the package. There's one little drawback that I find is that you really don't get to choose what's in that original package that you buy of food. You have the option to like opt out, like you don't want pig's feet and you don't want chicken feet, so you won't ever get those. But there are people who want that because they make their own chicken broth for cooking. But so it's a little bit limiting in that respect. But if there's something that you're going to have people over and you know that you're going to have a picnic or something and you want more hamburger or something like that, then you get to choose to add on. So that adds on to your original package price. Anyway, the point for me is that one, it gets delivered to my door, or they also have pickup at a local, big warehouse box type of parking lot. And so there's the convenience of that. We also have here locally are the farms, the vegetable farms. They have also something very similar. You get a box every month and or every week. There's a couple of different ones. So those are options that you can do because, as a caregiver, when you're caring for many people, and what we're going to talk about today too is the sandwich generation, and those are people who are raising their kids and they're taking care of their parents, and also a good chance have a job or two. So it's very, very challenging to put healthy food on the table. And if you can take one thing out of the mix, like going grocery shopping, which I pretty much just despise, because I go and it's like, what do you want to eat? Then it's, what do you want to cook? This way I can do it at 2 o'clock in the morning if I want, make my shopping list, and it's delivered to my door once a month. So that I'm paying a bit more for that convenience, but that is something that I found to be very helpful. So it's just choices. Peggy, I know that where you're located, you kind of live away from uh, the convenience of buying organic. But didn't you say that you make a little trip once a month or twice a month to pick up your items?
Yes, I do. I there's a town about 60 miles from here, and we go in there, and there's some really good stores in that they have a lot of organic vegetables, um, some grass-fed beef. Uh, but around my location, it's pretty tight. We do in the summer, however, have a farmer's market. I have a garden. Then it's pretty easy to get organic. But for the winter, it's a little difficult. And sometimes it's not easy to get that 60 miles down the lake. We're around the lakeshore and Lake Huron, and it's sometimes just brutal with uh, lake effect snow and blowing. And so, anyway, I don't want to give you my woes of location, but um, sometimes difficult to go get fresh stuff.
Yeah. But it's what's nice too is that when you buy your vegetables, you can take the greens and you can freeze them. So in the wintertime, you well, you know what's coming back? Do you remember, when people used to can and put up vegetables and so forth on the shelves? I mean, that is talk about time consuming. But what I have been doing is I like the beets. I'll take the greens off the tops and I'll cut them up and I'll freeze them. And so when they're frozen, you could throw them into a dish, and cook them up. Or I even use them in the wintertime for juicing. So you can still get that organic vegetable. It's not the same thing as biting into a fresh cantaloupe or something, but uh, you have that option to freeze it. And what I found, well, I made a mistake. I took the bananas. I got a big, really good price of organic bananas. So I bought a bunch, cut them up, and well, didn't they didn't survive the freezer very well. So that savings was not a savings because a lot of it went to the compost. So I would look ahead and see, when you put things in the freezer, how much do you eat, you consume, and how much do you need in the freezer so you can get through it and not, waste money that way either. But we live and learn. But something you mentioned, Peggy, was grass-fed beef. Um, Now, like the farm that I get our beef from is 100% organic, and what that means is that they use organic soil and organic grass. So I'm thrilled with that, and it's here in North Carolina in Lewisburg, and it's Lucky Three Farms, and they're the nicest people, and I know that they care for their animals, and it's great. And so, but when you talk about the grass fed, and I just was listening to an interview the other day, and this guy, and he's quite famous actor, and he has a farm out in Colorado, I believe is what he said, and he said, oh, they're grass fed, and then um, certain number of days before they go for processing, they give them corn and they fatten them up.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah,
the one thing that he left out of there was he didn't say whether that corn was organic or whether it was GMO.
right.
So, I would like to make a suggestion that ask your butcher at the store when you see grass fed, you know, do they get any corn? Do they get any grain that fattens them up? And then
Right.
if so, is it organic or is it GMO, genetically engineered? And so grass-fed, go with caution is what I would say, because I did that with my grocery store. That grass-fed, it's all natural. Well, then I came to find out that they also added the corn, and so I just don't. I can honestly say 99% of the time, I don't purchase meat through our local grocery store. Um, I just don't feel that I'm getting the whole story. So, but that's my
Yeah.
own. Everybody needs to do what they need to do. But
Well, you're probably very right on that. You're probably right on. I should delve deeper.
well, it's well, personally, I think this is kind of gross, but when I read just recently on things that are when you see something that says naturally flavored, um, there was an article on raspberry flavoring, Now, I don't know how they get raspberry flavoring out of this, but of a rodent, and they take the scent glands, and that's what they use to,
The scent gland of what?
of a rodent.
Oh dear.
They use that, and it's they, it fits under evidently our FDA definition of natural, um, but it's used in raspberry flavoring. Well, thank goodness I don't care for raspberries, but
Oh my goodness. I am totally grossed out now.
I know it is, but it does
Ah,
fall under that natural word. So again, just educate, and if that doesn't bother you, then God bless you. Go for it.
well,
But
it does
um,
bother me.
yeah. So like I said, I'm fortunate. I don't. I'm not a fan of raspberries, but
Well, I
um,
like the berry. I'm just going to eat the berry. No rodent scent gland for me.
yeah, yeah. It was kind of, but that's the other thing is educating yourself about the foods, and read both sides of the story and then form your own opinion, what works for you. um, uh, but do a little research and see what you can come up with in your local area, and even if it's not local, uh, see if they can send it to you, if they can mail it to you. It's definitely going to be a little bit more expensive, but I'm a full believer that if you spend your money on good quality food, then you're not going to be spending money in the emergency room or at the doctor's office as much.
You're
So,
probably exactly right.
because those chemicals are, our bodies were not designed to take and deal with um, today's chemicals that are put in our foods and that are
No,
illegal to put in our foods. So,
right.
um, and you'll see on my site, and you'll see on survivingthediagnosis.com that, when there's articles that we feel that are really hit home to us, that are very interesting, that we share them. And it's about the GMOs and the different companies, the chemical companies that have their claws into our food. So and it's been proven by the medical industry too that a lot of these chemicals are contributing to obesity in our world. And um, the sensitivities, we have more food sensitivities than we ever had before, and it's due to the chemicals that are in our foods. So,
Exactly.
uh, it's time. I have a vegetable garden. Peggy has a vegetable garden, and it's time consuming. I was going to take pictures of it this year, and I'm going to be a little embarrassed to do that because I haven't gotten to it and maintained it like I normally do. But even if you're on a patio, you don't have much room. Get yourself a flower planter and some good soil, organic soil, and put that heirloom seed or that organic plant in there and grow it on your patio. If you're by yourself or just the two of you, several plants, and that would be more than enough. I mean, my husband and I and the neighbors, I mean, I could keep them all in tomatoes just by planting 4 plants. So it's not a big uh, expense, you know.
Right,
But
right.
going through what I've gone through the last few months, what I found, even though I pride myself in eating organic, it was very challenging to make those organic meals and cook from scratch because one, it was time. I was just too tired, or before you knew it, it was dinner time. And then by the time you start thinking about what you want to thaw out, well, it's too late. I mean, there were things I used the pressure cooker for, which worked out very well because things were frozen. But the other thing is see if in your area if you have farm to table restaurants. We're getting one that's just opening up, or it just opened up this month, and we haven't gone there yet. But most restaurants, they have takeout, and So if you don't have the time, you can call and you can see, do you, can we order something off the menu and pick it up? And again, it's, the expense of eating out can be costly, but again, if it's your health or it's the convenience, just look at that and weigh your options and weigh what's most important to you. And honest to goodness, I will admit, unfortunately, I went through some fast food windows, and it was just to say, hey, I had something in my stomach. It was not good. I didn't enjoy it, um, but and then probably beat myself up a little bit over the fact that I actually succumbed to fast food. But anyway, it can be challenging. But if
Sure.
you can, look ahead, take the time to maybe put a couple of menus together, or even delegate. Maybe one of your kids could put a salad together when they got home from school, or if their school's out right now, it's summertime, maybe you can ask them, please, just do a big bowl of salad. And, if somebody doesn't like tomatoes and somebody does, then just cut up the tomatoes or get little cherry tomatoes. They've got organic ones, and just put them in another bowl, and then just have like a smorgasbord of salad fixing. So when everybody gets home at the different times of the evening, um, you can just kind of, put your forks in there and start making a salad, and it's already done. So
Good
just little
idea.
things. Yeah, just little things. So
Yeah, that's
uh,
some good ideas that you have there. John and I, he's not one to go get fruit for himself, so I cut some fruit up in the morning and leave it in a bowl on the island. And lo and behold, he walks by and he eats that bowl of fruit throughout the day. So
mhm.
um, there are ways to get it in the family members that don't want to get in and cut it up themselves.
Yeah,
So
there's something about that. It's like, oh, I gotta clean that, or I gotta. It's like,
yeah, so I'll
when you
skip it.
think about it, yeah, exactly. But it's easier to open that bag of chips and yeah.
Right,
So
right. I put
yeah,
a
what?
bowl of kale on the island the other day, and he says, "What's this?" And I said, "That's kale. Just chew on it. It's really good for you."
Yeah.
And he did.
Have you made kale chips?
I have. He's not fond of those, but
Oh,
it's not all about him.
no.
So I really like them. The kale that we get is an heirloom seed, and oh my gosh, it's so mild and just I just grab a leaf and eat it. It's so good. So while it's fresh out there, I make smoothies with it. It's just delicious. But the kale chips are on my to-do list.
Hmm. Yeah,
Really good.
uh, a lot of people will substitute kale spinach or vice versa.
Uh-huh.
So
Um, I yeah, I grow organic lettuce from the heirloom seeds, and I just mix it all together. One big salad: kale, the organic red, what is it? Romaine. Red romaine is delicious.
yeah, that is.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and we just have salads like that. So it's so good.
Yeah, that's
There's
kind of our go-to in the summertime is salads. I, I don't eat too many salads in the wintertime, but I definitely get my fill in the summer.
sure, sure, and it's so hot down there. You really
Yeah,
don't want to eat anything else.
no,
I
that or watermelon or something cold, but
yeah.
yeah. And that was another thing that just came to mind is that you can make your own vitamin or fruit water. And it's very simple. I actually the jars that I get from, if I buy something in a jar, or I buy the mason jars, and I just use the little ones, not the big ones, but the little ones. And I'll take the cucumbers and I'll cut them up and I'll throw them in there with some lemon. You could put ginger in there. You could put watermelon and raspberries and blueberries and, and just drink the water, and filtered water. Um, and so instead of buying the vitamin waters at the store, which are probably full of chemicals and
Right.
natural raspberry scents. I mean, you can make your own, and
Oh,
yeah, I know. And the fruit is good. I'd say what I've read and what I've done personally is about a week. It can sit in there, and you can drink the water, and then you can put more water in. So it's not just a one-time shot. You can keep it in there. There's jars that have uh, a reservoir inside the jar where you can put the fruit, and there's little holes in there, um, so the water can get through the fruit, but the fruit's not uh, floating around in the water. All all that does for me is it's just an easy filtration. So,
yeah, infusion.
yeah,
It's like infusing certain teas.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I
Great.
find it to be, there's a lot of things that you can do with your food and be healthy, and because food, it it affects your moods as well. Sugar is horrible.
Oh, yes.
It can set you off. I mean, if you were able to rid your body of any refined sugars, you would definitely notice a difference. And then if you had something with sugar in it, you would definitely see a difference. I mean, I know I do. If I've been pretty good without sugar for quite a while, but if I, you know, say, well, let's get a little cone or some ice cream cone or something, it just crashes me. I just feel so down and moody,
Yeah,
and leave me alone, or I'm short
right.
tempered or short, somebody says something and normally it wouldn't bother me. It's like, what do you mean by that? Or so definitely look at your foods and look at your moods and see what you're eating, and maybe uh, start taking those out of your diet if you think, well, maybe that was it. And then go a week and see how that goes, or 10 days, and then reintroduce it. And if you see that mood change come back, then you'll know on your own what it could be, that could be a possibility of what's causing it.
Yeah,
The other thing that I suggest is muscle testing, self muscle testing. Um, and it's very simple. And really, what all it involves is you trusting what the answer that you're getting. So there's several ways of muscle testing, but the easiest one that I find that I gravitate to is that I just take my thumb and my middle finger and make a circle, and then I take my other hand and do a circle again. So you've kind of looped them together, little infinities, and you want to ask a question and then pause for a second, and then gradually bring your fingers towards each other like this. So if you say, show me a yes, and you're asking your body these questions, so you're saying, show me a yes, and then you pull. And for me, a yes is this hand here locks. You can't get through it. And then I say, show me a no. And it's just very, show me a no. And honestly, it just automatically opens up. So that is my body's yes and no. Another way, one of our clients, they do the circle, but they just use their index finger and they just show me a yes, show me a no, show me a yes, show me a no. Okay. So if you take a piece of, say you take a piece of white bread, and you can either hold it in your hand. I always put it towards on my chest, or you can take a piece of white, a piece of the bread, and just set it in your mouth. and say, is this healthy for my body? And you'll say yes. And you'll the question will be, is this healthy for my entire body? And you'll get a yes or a no. So that's one way of testing, because you'll hear people say, oh, you shouldn't take this, you really need to take this vitamin, you need to eat this kind of food. It might not necessarily be for your highest good, and you're an individual. And when somebody tells me you need vitamin E, or you need this vitamin or this supplement, um, I listen to what they say, and then I ask my body, because my body knows what's best for me. Um, and so that's just a little tidbit that I like to share, because anything that you're questioning, um, uh, that's one way of getting a good answer. And
I
then
love
just with
that.
practice, you know.
I love the muscle testing.
Hmm.
Since I've known Sandy, I studied muscle testing in my EFT courses, and sometimes I didn't trust it. And when I met Sandy and she did her kinesiology modality with me, I began to trust it more. So I use it for myself. It does help you make some decisions. I use a pendulum in Reiki, but I suppose you could easily do muscle testing as well. Um,
Hmm.
I would just like to step back a few pages and talk about the sugar a little bit more, simply because when I got sick, I did a lot of research on cancer and nutrition. And it would seem that the primary cause of cancer is inflammation in the body. And the primary cause of inflammation in the body is sugar. And I didn't know that. I had no clue. And they didn't teach it in nursing school. Well, I read a book by a physician that had a brain tumor. He did uh, a lot of nutrition based chapters in his book. And it's amazing what I found out about the effects of sugar, the effects of, say, the white bread breaking down into simple sugars. Some things break down to sugar in your body. Um, even the diet substances cause inflammation in your body, like a sugar. So, as far as nutrition in the body, when you're trying to heal, um, totally stay away from sugar. Totally stay away from the fructose drinks. Um, there's also a green tea, matcha green tea from Japan, and that is very healthy for the body. It has all kinds of antioxidants in it, and it was recommended for me to drink 6 cups a day. Um, I don't totally get that in the summer because I could make a whole and as a matter of fact, I think I will. I could make a whole pitcher, and I'm going to do that because it's just hard to get that warm fluid down in this hot weather. But I like iced tea, and I like the green tea. So hey, I just thought of one of my go-to drinks, Sandy, just like you did with your cucumbers and stuff. And I'm going to do that too. I love ginger and lemon, and cucumbers are so nutritious for the body. Absolutely. Um, so all of these fresh vegetables, can be made into a drink, and that's on my list today, is to make my green tea into a pitcher of green tea. Maybe I'll put some ginger in there. I might even try a cucumber in there. So
Well,
anyway,
now the matcha, can you make that into a cold tea?
yeah, I mean,
Oh.
I would start out with it hot, like you do with regular tea bag iced tea.
Hmm.
You have to get it activated, and I would put it like like I would a pitcher of iced tea in the summer that you make from tea bags. But, pour the hot water in and let it steep. This is a 5 minute um, recipe. And then when it has steeped enough, pour the ice cubes in. And you've got your green tea with all the antioxidants. It's a good drink.
Maybe you can you post that on our Facebook page over at Surviving the Diagnosis?
Sure.
That'd be
Um,
great because, and
yeah.
then, excuse me, uh, I just read a recipe with matcha in it, so it's kind of coincidental, though I don't believe in coincidences, that we're talking about matcha today. Um, and
Yeah.
it's one that boosts your metabolism too, from what I just
Right.
read. So,
It does. It's good for dieting.
mhm.
Our local coffee shop in town uh, has a drink, and it's matcha green tea, and it's done in a cold fashion. Now I just saw it yesterday on the menu when I was there meeting some friends, and I'll have to try that. But I am going to make my own today, and I will post the recipe on our Facebook page.
Wonderful. Yeah. So the green tea itself is called matcha green tea.
Exactly, and it's in a powdery form. I
Hmm.
I bought it's not very much, like I got 2 packets, and I don't know the weight, but it's not even a pound, and it was like 30 some dollars. But it's lasted me all winter because you just use a little teeny tiny. You know how you get these little spice scoops,
Yeah.
and that's all I use for 1 cup. So if I'm going to do a pitcher, maybe I'll put 5 of those in there
Hmm.
or 6, and and put some ginger. I always, when I buy my ginger, I cut it up in usable chunks and freeze it, and it's okay to thaw it and use it again. Or not again, but I mean use that chunk.
Hmm. Yeah. And I grate it. I use one of those planers like and grate my ginger
Uh
and I
huh.
put it in my water and let it sit in there. So that's I tried my hand at making kombucha and though I was successful on a couple times, but the SCOBY, which is just I'll say film, but it's not, but it's something that it's the yeast and everything that accumulates at the top. And that can turn so quickly. Um, I mean, within hours. I mean, I could look at it, everything looks good, and then a couple hours later, I look at it and I see mold on it. So then the whole thing has to get thrown out. So,
Wow.
so I haven't done that for a while.
Too
Um,
unstable.
yeah, it was. It was too unstable. And the one thing is that when you're making kombucha, you have to, the room temperature has to be 70 degrees.
Uh huh.
And we don't keep the house that warm in the wintertime. So we are challenged with it staying at 70 degrees. So it really is probably, that reason why I was not successful at it. So.
Mhm.
I just want to take a second and just tell listeners you're listening to survivingthediagnosis.com. It's happened to all of us, and we're here every Monday at 10 a.m. just having open discussion chat. So if you'd like to join us, feel free to email us at hello@survivingthediagnosis.com and let us know that you want to be on the panel so we can have a chat with you and get to know you. Also, you can go over to survivingthediagnosis.com and sign up there for friendly reminders that you'll get of each live show that we're having. From time to time, we'll have guests on the show. And so it's really just a place to come and from the comfort of your own home and just have a chat with us. And one of the things, Peggy is a two-time cancer survivor, and I am a family caregiver and have been for uh, over 3 decades now, probably going into my fourth. And we just bring the audiences together, the two together, and bring awareness of the importance that we're all going through this diagnosis, whatever it is, whether it's cancer, whether it's that someone's been diagnosed with a migraine or gallbladder stones, or anything that it falls under the heading of I've been diagnosed with this or I have this. There's challenges, there's emotions. The roller coaster of emotions it just is up and down, and it can just flood in unexpectedly. You could be fine 1 minute, and next minute you're just a puddle of water from tears. And so
Right.
it's just what we try and bring to this audience is a place that you can feel safe to come and express what you're experiencing, because both of us have been through this journey, um, and we understand the emotions that are associated with it. And other people may not. They'll say, oh, it's going to get better, or but at certain points you don't want to hear that. It just
No,
doesn't, because right in the moment it's like, this sucks.
ab-
Let's be
absolutely.
honest, it sucks, and I don't want to hear that I'm going to be feeling better later. I
No.
just so.
And you know what that does, Sandy? That
Mhm.
cuts the person right off. It cuts the dialogue off. It
Mhm.
minimizes their pain. It minimizes their pain to have someone say, well, it'll get better. That means I don't want to talk about it. That's your problem, and I don't want to talk about it. That cuts a
Mhm.
person right off in potentially getting rid of some emotion around what they're going through.
Mhm.
So I say for the cancer patient, especially since I've been there twice, as soon as someone says to me, well, we're all going to die, I'll say, okay, I'm shutting down here.
Mhm.
You haven't been hit by the truck. Um,
Right.
so, or the caregiver, well, it'll get better. Hang in there. Well, that's chopping them off at vocalization and verbalizing what they feel,
Mhm.
cutting them right off.
Well, I strongly feel there's a time uh, to be positive, that I am going to feel better. This is going to pass, and I'm going to be stronger for it. But there is so much. I'm trying to find the word, but it's vital for you to acknowledge where you're at in the moment. And if it means I am so ticked off that this happened, or how dare this happen to us or me, or you know um, or I am so sad and I don't know what I'm feeling, I don't know which way to turn. If you focus on that in the moment and acknowledge that, and through the work that we offer through the transformational tapping, which is modeled after emotional freedom techniques, and you just tap on the tapping points, the acupressure points, it really brings down the intensity around it, and um, it helps you focus on you, and that you're healing, and this is a process and it's a journey. But and you do get to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, because sometimes it's quite overwhelming. But then there's times that it's like, I don't feel like tapping. I just want to crawl in bed and put the head covers over my head. And that's okay. But through tapping, what it does is it helps you um, minimize the time that you're with the covers over your head. It doesn't mean that you're not going to go back there, but it helps minimize the length of time that you may normally spend. And some people just don't pull out of it. And we're here to help you, no matter whether you've gone through a challenge, a diagnosis 50 years ago. Um, this can still help with those traumatic experiences that you had, that even way back, beginning of time. in a sense. And or if it happened yesterday, it all depends on you and where you're at. And that's what Peggy and I do through, again, you can go to survivingthediagnosis.com, and on our homepage, we have the different levels of services that we offer. And one is this Google Hangout. It's free. You can come to it and you can share. We have our monthly membership where we delve into the members and individual challenges that they are experiencing. So we kind of laser focus on what's going on. Plus, there's community there. And then we offer different levels of mentoring. And it can be one-on-one private mentoring, or again, it could be in groups, but in a more uh, um, focused and intense setting, looking at your stuff. So there's many different options that we offer, but Google Hangouts is our beginning where you get to know us, and hopefully you'll come on and we'll get to know you, and just start a community of support, because support is very important. Um, I can,
Yeah, very important.
it is, and even the days that you don't feel like, when you don't want to, what I call going underground. But I'll tell you that what the last couple of months, Peggy, just you sending a little Facebook and saying, I'm here, or hello, or a little heart or a hug. And uh, I always had my phone with me because in case my mom needed me. But you know so I was able to pick up on those Facebook messages. But they were very, very important to me because those helped me know that I was not alone, that I, had somebody rooting for me in my corner, that things are gonna work out, and that you're there. So they're priceless. So I'm very, very grateful for those. So thank you very much.
Um, that was a very rough time, not to minimize it at all. And I just I knew that there wasn't anything that I could say really to make it better. And I just thought, well, just and folks out there in the audience, just let the person know that you are there. You can drop them a little, like Sandy said, a little Facebook heart, or a little email. I'm here if you need me, if you need anything. There's not much, when you're going through that very acute stage of grief. It is so raw, and I understood she had to go underground, and I just kept, sending her little messages and saying, I'm here when you're ready to come out. I'm here,
Hmm.
and that's how it worked.
Yeah.
And
And it was so beneficial. I mean, I reflect back on when Keith's accident happened. Um, it was almost like an isolation that, as a family dynamic, we were all together and we were all trying to be supportive of each other, and we were in the beginning. And then we kind of fragmented off. And what I mean by that is that we kept our emotions and our anger and our sadness to ourselves, so we didn't upset the apple cart. We didn't upset somebody else. In the beginning, it was like, let's be supportive and, all of that. But then it just somehow started fragmenting. So, but we had each other, and we really didn't know how to, in the very beginning, really didn't know how to support each other. Um,
right,
because we were all in shock and trauma and all of that. So, just looking at that experience, and then looking at the experience with my mom, just the tools of knowing EFT and knowing nutrition, bringing that, and knowing that I was healthy, and that I knew that if I succumbed to the chips or the ice cream, or something quick to put in my mouth, um, uh, making pasta, that breaks down to sugar in your body, and that weights you down, and just all of that just plays with your moods. And so, just having the tools and the education was very helpful this time. And So I'm very grateful for all of it. Yep.
Yeah. Also, our listeners, you're hearing some of the tools that we use, Sandy and I. We've learned through the ropes, kind of the hard way, because, like Sandy said, her family, they were all angry, they were all hurting. When I got diagnosed, it was the same thing. I pretty much had to try to keep everyone else up because it was so grave, and I knew that they were all hurting. And if I had had a program like we're offering to our listeners, the watchers, to go to, and even tell my family, hey, let's all tune into this program on Monday morning, and if you can't, you come home from work, you can watch the replay. But it is so valuable, and that's what we're trying to share with everyone that does partake in our show, that you are both hurting, you are all hurting in the family, everybody. The dynamics are the same. You're all really, really hurting, and you can come together on this and tap with us and understand that you're not alone.
That's the big thing is realizing that there are uh, support like our show, and our show will be successful or more successful when you join us and we can have a dialogue and we can help you through the challenges that you are experiencing. Um, Peggy, we've got about, oh, I don't know, about 15 minutes or so. Do you want to do some tapping around maybe a challenge that that we all have around the diagnosis? I know we've done anger, and um, I'm I'm just trying to see
We've done
what the need
we've,
would be here.
well, we've done anger and sadness, and um, I think that what I mentioned this morning, uh, relative to what do you say to a person that has cancer?
Yeah.
What do you say to them? Uh, and again, I'd like to remind people that just the pat answer, well, we're all going to die. I heard that so many times, and I wasn't that old. Still am not. Don't want to die at this age. Didn't want to die at that age. But people are sometimes, a little bit cruel, um, in that I guess it pertains to them. We're all vulnerable, and we are. In the wink of an eye, it's changed totally. The diagnosis, once it's said, your life changes totally. And I don't know. I just think the people that try to comfort you and try to say the right things, for me, it was just acknowledgement. I'm
Mhm.
sorry you're sick. I'm sorry you're going through this. Um, the blank stares, and the as soon as they saw your bald head, or heard you had cancer, it was like, whoa, let me out of here. People don't want to be around people with cancer, usually.
Mhm. So, let's see. I wonder if we can do a combination.
Hmm.
Well, let's do that. Let's tap on the karate chop and see where this leads us, okay?
Okay, sure.
Even though
Even though
I don't know what to say,
I don't know what to say,
I just want to comfort them.
I just want to comfort them.
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
love and accept myself.
love and accept myself,
even though I don't know what to say to them,
even though I don't know what to say to them,
so I can comfort them
so I can comfort them
because I know they're in pain
because I know they're in pain
on all levels.
on all levels.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself,
I deeply and completely love and accept myself,
even though I don't know what to say,
even though I don't know what to say.
and part of me doesn't even want to see them
Part of me doesn't even want to see them
because I have the fear that I might say something wrong.
because I have the fear that I might say something wrong.
I have the fear that I might start crying,
I have the fear that I might start crying,
that I won't be strong for them,
that I won't be strong for them,
and they need somebody who's strong,
and they need somebody who's strong,
and I might not be that person.
and I might not be that person.
I deeply and profoundly
I deeply and profoundly
love and accept myself.
love and accept myself.
On the eyebrow point, I don't know what to say,
I don't know what to say,
and I feel guilty that I don't even want to see them
and I feel guilty that I don't even want to see them
because I don't think I'll be strong enough for them.
because I don't think I'll be strong enough for them.
This is really hurting me.
This is really hurting me.
I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do.
I am so angry this is happening to them,
I am so angry this is happening to them,
and I am so angry that I can't do anything.
I am so angry that I can't do anything,
And I don't want them to feel worse than they already do.
and I sure don't want to make them feel worse than they already do.
I can't go in and see them.
I can't go in and see them.
I'm a puddle of tears right now.
I'm a puddle of tears right now.
How am I going to be strong for them?
How am I going to be strong for them?
I just don't know.
I just don't know.
Maybe I can give myself some strength.
Maybe I can, what was that?
Give myself some strength
Give myself some strength.
and know that whatever I do
I know that whatever I do
will let them know that I love them
will let them know that I love them
and that I'm there for them.
and that I'm there for them,
Because maybe that's all they need is just to know
because that's most likely all they need to know
is that they're not alone,
is that they're not alone,
that I am here,
that I am here,
and all they need to do is call out,
and all they need to do is call out,
and I'll be there,
and I'll be there,
even if it's just in a prayer,
even if it's just in a prayer,
just letting them know I'm there.
just letting them know I'm there.
I'm thinking of them.
I'm thinking of them.
And if they need me in a bigger capacity,
And if they need me in a bigger capacity,
I'll do the best I can,
I will do the best I can.
and I'll be okay with that.
And I'll be okay with that.
Okay, tap on your collarbone and just taking a deep breath. So I there you have it. So
Yes,
when
that,
you don't know what to do, maybe that will help lessen the burden on you. As I was tapping, I was thinking, Peggy, that can happen. That can help for the patient as well. Do you think that round could help the patient know that?
oh yeah, oh yeah. Exactly, because the person and people just don't know, just like you said, don't know what to say. And if the patient taps on that, then they're more forgiving. I mean, I don't want to say that I held a grudge against anybody that moved away from me or anything, but um, people just don't know. And that's why our show is so important, because we bring the the nitty gritty out about being a patient, being a caregiver, um, just like Sandy's son. he was a vital, strong, handsome young man, and he became paralyzed. And I'm sure that people look over him or don't, don't acknowledge, yes, you are in a wheelchair, and I'm sorry. Um, you tend to have more opportunity for dialogue and coming close to someone if you can just bring it up,
Hmm.
because the cancer patient or the uh, paraplegic like Sandy's son, I mean, what are we going to say? Yep, I've got cancer. Yep, I'm in a wheelchair. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's the it's the elephant in the room, and
Hmm.
and people need to acknowledge it, and I think that would help patients. This tapping we just did.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just getting a little nudge to do some tapping around uh, people who leave, friends that leave.
Yeah, yeah, that's a biggie.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Um,
We're going to go over a little bit, folks, but not much.
yeah. Yeah, just a little bit. What's one of the things, Peggy, of maybe of people leaving that friends that left, um, even family maybe that had left when you were diagnosed or going through treatment.
Uh, Many friends, like I said, whom I thought would be there and just acknowledge, and family members, distant family members, just would ask through someone else, not communicate with me or my family. They would get their information peripherally, and that's how a lot of people deal with it. Well, tell her I'm thinking of her, or that sort of thing.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, so
Okay.
I think that's kind of where I'd go with it.
Okay. So let's step on the karate chop. And again, just step in anything you want to add.
Okay,
Even though I've been diagnosed
even though I've been diagnosed
with this horrific disease,
with this horrific disease,
and people just don't know how to handle it.
and people just don't know how to handle it.
I don't know how to handle it.
I don't know how to handle it myself.
I deeply and profoundly
I deeply and profoundly
accept who I am.
accept who I am,
Even though I've been diagnosed with this horrific disease,
even though I've been diagnosed with this horrific disease,
and I don't know how to handle it.
and I don't know how to handle it.
How do I know? How can I expect others to handle it?
How can I expect anyone else to handle it? I don't
I,
even know how.
I don't even know how. I deeply and profoundly
I deeply and profoundly
accept who I am.
accept who I am,
Even though I have this disease
even though I have this disease,
and I really don't know how to handle it,
and I really don't know how to handle it.
how can I expect others to be able to handle it?
Yeah, how can I expect others to be able to handle it?
I deeply and profoundly
I deeply and profoundly
accept who I am.
accept who I am.
They don't know how to handle it.
They don't know how to handle it.
They have left me.
They have left me.
They have left me all alone.
They've left me all alone, but I think they're frightened.
But I think they may be frightened.
hmm I think they may be frightened.
But I'm expecting them to know what to do
Yeah, I'm expecting them to know what to do
and what to say.
and what to say.
After all, they're family
After all, they're family,
and they're my close friends.
and they're my close friends.
They're supposed to know me.
They're supposed to know me.
They're supposed to know what I want to hear and what I don't want to hear.
Well, they're supposed to,
But they don't.
but they don't.
They disappear.
They disappear. It's too painful.
And it's too painful. It's scary.
It is scary for them. What if it happened to them?
Pardon?
What if it happened to them?
Yeah, what if it happened to them? Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. But I think that a lot of people are frightened of, gosh, if it happened to her, it can happen to me.
And that's their fear.
And that is their fear.
That's not my fear.
That's not my fear.
They're handling it in the way that they feel they can handle it.
They're handling it in a way they feel they can handle it.
It's not a reflection on how much they care about me.
No, it's not a reflection on how much they care about me.
But when you're going through something so devastating as this,
But when you're going through something so devastating as this,
I feel that it's an attack against me.
I feel that it's an attack against me.
And I'm already being attacked by this disease.
When I'm already being attacked by this disease.
And I don't need to be attacked by anyone.
And I don't need to be attacked by anyone.
And this angers me
And this does anger me,
that they've attacked me.
that they've attacked me.
Don't they see what I'm struggling with?
Don't they see what I'm struggling with?
And they probably do.
They probably do.
And they just don't know how to handle it.
And they just don't know how to handle it.
They're doing the best they can,
They're doing the best they can,
just like I'm doing the best I can
just like I'm doing the best I can,
with the being attacked with this disease.
being attacked with this disease.
So they may not be attacking me.
So they may not be attacking me.
They don't know how to relate to me anymore.
Yeah, that's it. They don't know how to relate to me anymore.
They don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say.
They don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't
They
want to
don't
hurt
want to
my
hurt,
feelings.
they don't want to hurt my feelings.
They don't want to show their vulnerability.
They don't want to show their vulnerability. They've never been here,
And their weakness.
and their weakness.
Even if they haven't been here physically,
Even if they haven't been here physically,
if they speak to me on the phone,
they speak to me on the phone.
they just have the fear of breaking down.
They just have the fear of breaking down.
When we have the fear
And we have the fear
of not doing something right,
of not doing something right,
we typically don't do it.
we typically don't do it.
So that may be why they haven't come to see me
So that may be why they haven't come to see me
or given me a call,
or given me a call.
because they just don't know how to do it right.
They just don't know how to do it right.
And all I want to tell them
And all I want to tell them
is just being there is doing it right.
is just being there is doing it right.
Being here is just doing it right.
Being here is just doing it right.
Letting them know
Letting them know
that just knowing they're here
just knowing they're here
is enough.
is enough.
Okay, tap on your collarbone, taking a deep breath. How does that feel?
Well, you want to know the truth?
Yeah.
It triggered me. It was a little trigger, but I'm okay. It just was a little trigger. It brought up some some feelings that I had that I never verbalized really.
Hmm.
Um, so it was a trigger. But
So the trigger, did it help? Did we bring it down, or is it still there?
um, we brought it way up, and then we
Okay.
proceeded to bring it down. So it's
Okay.
down.
So where is it on a 0 to 10 right now?
It's 6.
Oh, okay. So it's pretty strong.
Yeah, it did. It went way up, but
Okay. So what's your what? So what is the six? What is the trigger? What was it that came up?
just the whole feeling around them going away, not knowing how to relate to me. That was huge. That's probably when it started to go down. But the fact that people do, they just go away, and it's almost like you're not of this world anymore. You're not one of them. You're you're one of these. With cancer, it is a very strange feeling to feel socially isolated, and that's what it is. That's what it is. You're 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 concerned about hurting them with your existence, with your bald
Hmm.
head, with your skinny body. Not anymore, but you lose a lot of weight, and it it's people are afraid of people with cancer,
Hmm.
and that just that just triggered me.
Okay. So let
The memory,
okay. So on the memory. So even though
even though
I felt deserted,
I felt deserted,
and I have some of that residual feeling,
and I have some of that residual feeling.
I deeply and profoundly
I deeply and profoundly
accept who I am.
accept who I am,
Even though
even though
I felt deserted,
I felt deserted.
and at times I still feel deserted.
Well, when I think about it, at times I still feel deserted.
So there's still a little piece of this memory
Still a little piece of this memory
that is eating at me.
that's been eating at me.
I deeply and profoundly
I deeply and profoundly
accept who I am.
accept who I am.
Eyebrow, I felt deserted.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I felt deserted
I felt deserted
and socially isolated.
and socially isolated.
I'm a cancer patient.
I'm a cancer patient.
I'm not Peggy anymore.
I'm not Peggy anymore.
I'm a cancer patient.
I'm a cancer patient.
I'm not Peggy anymore.
I'm not Peggy anymore.
My sister has cancer.
My sister has cancer.
My friend has cancer.
My friend has cancer.
That's who I am now.
That's who I am now.
I'm not Peggy anymore.
I'm not Peggy anymore.
I feel isolated,
I feel isolated.
so socially isolated.
Socially isolated.
I've been put in this box.
Oh, yeah. It's a box. I've been put in this box.
I'm over here,
I'm over here,
and I don't want to be here anymore.
and I don't want to be here anymore.
I'm Peggy.
I'm Peggy.
I'm healthy.
I'm healthy.
I'm vibrant.
I'm vibrant.
I'm part of society.
I am part of society.
Everyone is part of society.
Everyone is part of society.
And I release this label.
And I release this label.
It's not me anymore.
It's not me anymore.
It's who I was,
It's who I was,
and I'm not anymore.
and I'm not anymore.
So the people who have deserted me,
So the people who have deserted me,
can come back into my life.
can come back into my life.
We don't need to talk about it,
We don't need to talk about it.
but it is a part of me.
Yeah, history, it's a part of me.
It's a part of my history, but I don't talk about parts of my history every day.
Right, I don't talk about parts of my history every day.
I am who I am today because of it.
I am who I am today because of it.
And if they choose not to come back
And if they choose not to come back, excuse me,
and get to know me,
they get to know me.
yeah, if they choose not to come back and get to know me
If they choose not to come back and get to know me after the treatment,
after the treatment, then they're missing out on who I am.
then they're missing out on who I am.
They don't know me anymore.
They don't know me anymore.
And if they choose not to get to know me,
And if they choose not to get to know me,
that's all right.
that's all right.
Because I'm not that same person I once was.
No, I'm not the same person I once was.
Every experience
Every experience
makes us new.
makes us new.
And it's okay if they don't come back.
And it's okay if they don't come back.
I will embrace the memories of our friendship
I will embrace the memories of our friendship
and release it
and release it
because I'm new
because I'm new.
and I'm happy with who I am.
Oh, and I'm so happy with who I am.
Okay, tap on the collarbone and take in a deep breath. And when you think of being deserted or socially isolated, how are those levels? 0 to 10 on those.
They've gone way down, Sandy.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I just didn't want to leave you at a 6.
Right, right,
You know,
right.
so yeah, because that's important. I mean, I know when my son was, all of his friends, and then they all just went off into the sunset, But then you look at the friendships that we've all developed due to the accident, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't want to minimize the friendships before, but these are just new, and the experiences, just everything is just okay. It's great, and we're fortunate to have these relationships in our lives now, and probably would never have had them had it not been for the diagnosis, in
Right,
our case, the accident. So,
right.
yeah,
You gain so many new, authentic relationships once they come to you at this level. Here I
hmm
am. I was damaged. Had treatment. Here I am. I'm Keith. I had an accident. I'm in a chair. When people come and accept you for those things, those are true friends.
definitely, yeah. So to spend our energy on past relationships or ones that have gone, in into history, it's a part of our history. That's part of our memories, and but they're just, for whatever reason, they came in up to that point and then they left. So,
Yeah, yeah,
and all relationships, no matter whether it's just a neighbor or, you know, it's it's a loss of a relationship, so it's a grieving process.
right,
So you go through it and then you release it, and again, that's what the tapping helps with, is to move through those, so you're not holding on to that resentment that they left, or they never called, or they said this or that. So those are the kinds of things that we work on in our sessions. So
Yeah,
hopefully it helped.
it helped tremendously for me. And if anyone is tapping along, that's been diagnosed with anything, you know, it's got to make you feel better. It did me. I do feel much better.
Good. Well, we are definitely over today, but you know, it just conversation led where it needed to go, I feel. So,
Yeah.
um, we will next week. We're going to be going to Tennessee. We're going to be Peggy and I are going to be meeting up, and we're going to the National Women Survivors Convention in Nashville, Tennessee, and it's an exciting time. It's all it's survivors. I mean, they're planning 1,200 or more attendees at the convention. The mayor of Nashville has designated the week uh, for Survivors Week. So it's a big deal. It's the second annual convention of this association, but it has such a presence of a convention that's been around for years. When you
Yeah.
go to the website, National Women's Survivors Convention, and it'll redirect you over to their website. And there's many things, even men coming there and being, you know, the partners and the spouses of the survivors, and they've got special things going on for them. We've got there's booths that Peggy and I are going to be participating in, and there's a walk run on uh, during the time. I believe it's Saturday morning, and it's being held at the Opryland Hotel in Nashville, which is an awesome. You can go in there and just walk inside. It's an indoor atrium, and it's just gorgeous. Um, and so, anyway, that's where we'll be next week, and hopefully, we'll be doing a little bit of streaming and showing you where we're at and what we're doing. So, we're
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
forward to it.
that'll be so exciting. I'm just so excited to do this with Sandy. We're going to be together. Uh, we're we're states away from each other, and it'll be nice to be with her in the flesh, and to meet all the other survivors. I still have to write my story. I've been so busy, but I started it and submit it, and people can come to our booth, and if you are there, come and introduce yourself, and we'd love to see you. We'll do some tapping for you,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. So definitely, if you get a chance to go, come in and stop by our booth at survivingthediagnosis.com. And as always, your hopes and your dreams are always within reach. And reach out for them. And we're here every week, every Monday, to be your support. And again, visit survivingthediagnosis.com, get reminders of the shows, and also check out all the things that we have to offer. So we're here for you as your support. So, so we'll see you next week.
See you next week.